Hello, welcome to the Warley Lockdown 3.0 live stream. If anyone's watching, if you can just tell me that you can hear me and you can see me and everything is working okay. You just make a comment in the so I know we're all working properly. I know we had some issues last week with cameras not working and then pictures not going and then no sound and everything. So it'd be good to know we're working today. So are we working? Have we got sound? Can you hear me? So I can see we've got 7 people watching at the moment. So to look. Hello, Paul. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully, we'll get you in on the stream in a couple of weeks' time. I think talking about your layout. Well, once the weather's a bit warmer, be nice to see your garden layout or your garden room. Hello, Martin. So in a few moments, I'll bring Barry in because Barry's sat in the basement waiting to be brought in. So, Barry, are you ready to be bring in? Give us a thumbs up. Okay, so we'll bring him in.
Oh, hello.
Hello, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Hope you're all right as well.
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Keeping busy, keeping out of mischief, trying to pass these long days, being stuck at home. So, how are you finding things?
I've been very busy. I've got lots of things I want to do. I'm not getting as many things finished now as I did in lockdown 1. Well, I think that's because I've got the bits that were really at the bottom end of the round wood pile, which is just pain and anguish. It has to be done.
Yeah, but as long as you're getting jobs done and getting jobs started, it's keeping your mind busy and active, and that's the main thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, part like street badging.
So, quick chat about obviously Warley. So, you've been a member of Warley Club for how long?
Not as long as I think, because I've been going to Warley shows a lot longer than being a member. I think I've probably been a member for about 20 years. That's all. Associate member. I live too far away. Yeah. But I did start my first show was in 1977 at the Harry Mitchell. I can't remember what I was doing there, other than we seemed to drink a lot of beer. And until we didn't have a show last year, I'd never missed a show since then. So, a long time. There are one or two others who I know who've done virtually the same as well. So,
Yeah, Mr. Jones is in the group and in the chat. I think Paul's been here as long as, probably done as many shows as you, if not more.
Yeah, he's had to put up with me. Bless him.
So to start, well, when I first got involved with the show, you looked after the demonstration area.
Yeah.
And how long had you been doing that for?
I did it for. I said I'd do it for 5 years, and I did 5 years. It all happened quite suddenly, but I decided right at the start. The last year I wasn't. That year I wasn't organising it. I was asked at the last minute to help, so I did. What I noticed was there was 1 or 2 people turn up for demos who spent all day reading newspapers or doing things, but not actually talking to the public. And I wrote a paper for the guys running the show saying, I think we need to have people who are more interactive and actually get people hands-on, or at least talk to them. You know, you can't sell things off the stand. We need to move on. And luckily, I said yes, and then I went, oh dear. So, yeah. But, I mean, not many places have actually had demos where you had two layouts. One of them was Buckingham, which is the Peter Denny layout, because that was just showing how far we'd moved on in the, it was about 50 years since that was started. And then the other one was Shap, which is Graham Nicholas, which was designed to show what you could do with modern, modern gear. So, like, can you get a ready-to-run Hornby Duchess pulling a 12-coach train up Shap? Well, yes, you can. But there was a lot in there, and it showed, because that was 1967, remember? What happened in 1967? No more steam trains. So Graham had included things like Clun Castle on its trip round, and Nigel Gresley did a trip of the West Coast as well. So it was good to try and get somebody to show people. Demonstration doesn't have to be just about, well, I'm going to make one of these boxes. It's about the holistic bit. Look at what's happened. I mean, that was also the year we had the shop, which made Pete's day, Pete Waterman, because there was stuff in the shop he could remember buying. Bless. Strange enough, he wouldn't buy it again. I tried hard.
Pete doesn't like spending his money, does he? Bless him.
No, he owes me a pint.
Does he?
From a York show in 1992. I've got a long memory.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah, I'll get it.
I don't think you'll see that again.
Never mind.
Mr. Jones has just commented, was your visit with Cookie?
Yeah.
And he said he's been to 50 or 52 Warley shows.
All right. So it's 23. Well, this last year will be me 42nd, so this year will be 42nd. I'm a bit behind him. Just a bit.
I think we're all behind Paul, to be fair. There's not many people with more shows than Paul, is it really?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because it reminded us the other day that I was at a Gildex and Paul was running Gildex at the time. And I knew him from Warley. He said, can I have a word in your ear? So I went off to this room, and he asked us the immortal question, do you think it would be a good idea to have a show at the NEC? I didn't even think about it. I said, yes, because the last Harry Mitchell we've been to, we were like sardines. I mean, we're all crammed up. So, I was privileged to be asked my opinion, and I was very glad to say yes. And luckily, since then, it's been a great success. So yeah, never problemed.
So going back to there you got your name on the screen now. So going back to the Harry Mitchell Centre, what's your fondest memories of going back that far and the old show?
Oh well, as Mr. Jones is listening, I'll remind him of the weekend when we went, and the club ladies, all the wives and partners, used to do the catering in one of the Nissan huts. And we got there one day. Mr. Jones was a bit flustered on the Saturday morning. Oh, what's up, Paul? We forgot to get the pies. We always had pie. We got to get the pies out and defrosted them. So sure enough, when we went, a bit later on, we were walking through the yard. He said, can you give us a hand? And he'd been out to buy some of these new microwave things to defrost the pies. Saved by the microwaves. That was one of them. I mean, the other one was, we used to get strange weather at Harry Mitchell. We'd always get the first frost because we used to go stay at little B&Bs on the Hagley Road, and the cars were always covered on the Saturday morning with ice. But we turned up once from Leeds with a 3-ton truck full of layouts, and we needed to park it for the weekend, and it had snowed. Now, in the yard at the Harry Mitchell, there's a number of Nissan huts with just enough room in between two to park the lorry. Al Phantom said, I don't suppose you can be parked in that gap there, Bads. Yeah, no problem. So I got in, started up, into reverse, foot hard down, straight in the gap, stopped, get out, shut the door. Alf, I nearly had to peel him off the floor. He was as white as he stood. So I asked for time not to drive very fast at it. Didn't matter. It was more worried by the gun. There's a Bofors gun parked next door to it. I was more worried by that than I was by the Nissan huts. But yeah, but it was a very close show because you all went to the same. It wasn't a huge show, but you got to know people because the proximity you were in. You know, there was like the big hall, and there was a squash court. It wasn't another hall. You had to go outside, so it was always you getting wet or cold. But you got to know people, and they get to know you. And that was helped a bit by going to the odd pub or three, like the Bull and Bladder in Delft.
So were you responsible for getting Mr. Jones drunk then in York one year? Was it your fault?
It wasn't my fault, but we all got drunk in York every year. Although there was once in York where Paul Cookie and then the last, John Brewer, who at that time was the editor of Railway Modeller, he's since died, and myself ended up in a pub, the Star, I think it was, at lunchtime. And things got a bit out of hand, is all I would say. Not as bad as playing against the Viet Gwent at Domino's, where it really got out of hand. But yeah, I mean, York was really a social function with a model railway exhibition just thrown in for extras. Whereas Warley was the railway show, and it was always good. You always had good layouts, nice people, good traders. You get anything you wanted there. And then it just built up over the years with people getting to know each other. So like John Seward, bless him, aka Mr. Murphy, because of his exploits with his Irish layouts, particularly at Leeds, and drinking Guinness. So I mean, you got to know people like that, and we'd meet up. So like when we were staying at Surrey Hill at the Jarvis George, Paul sometimes met up with us on the Friday night. We'd go for a curry or a Chinese. It was great, and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
So good fun. Good fun. We're just missing it now, aren't we?
Absolutely. I do miss the social side of the show, being able to spend time and talking to people and interacting with everyone at the show. Really, just that's the fun thing for me. It's not necessarily the layouts; it's the interaction and the chat and the banter.
Well, it's the first time in a long time I didn't wake up with a sore throat on the Monday after Warley from talking all weekend, demonstrating.
So, obviously, talking about demonstrations, because that's and obviously your weathering is I suppose your forte really. So if I can get the camera to work, this is where we went Pete Tong last week. Yeah. So this is a wagon you did for me, probably about 2 years ago now, I think it was.
Yeah, it was when we had chapel there in shop. So.
That's it, yeah. So it must have been about 2018. So how did you do that for me? How did you tell the viewers how you did the weathering on that?
Yeah, I mean the problem is I haven't got the right book to show you a football. I tend to look in books like this because there's lots of colour photos of things, and it gives you a good idea of what you're going to have to weather. Because weathering's 90% observation and 10% having the guts to do it. So with that, I'm certain you showed us some photos. I'm certain you did that. I had something to work off. There was a lightly weathered one and a fairly filthy one. So that one I think is the filthy one. So I'll start off by covering the whole vehicle in a mix of Indian ink and water. And that's my Indian ink. It's rotary. And the less water you put in it, the shinier it is. So if you want shiny oil stains, you can put it on just like as an ink. And once you've done that, I then use weathering powders. Oh, you can see that. You see that? Look, green things there.
Beans. Okay.
And I dust those on. If you let the ink dry, then it'll just sit on the you put it on the surface with a powder, and with time it will come off the bits it shouldn't be. So, for example, a panel van like that, see, banana van, it started off like that, yeah. So that has had ink, and then when it's dry, powder added to it. Now, what'll happen with time is it'll come off the bits it shouldn't be on. So, like the flat panel, it'll come off, but the grooves, they'll stay in. If you wanted to get it to stick longer, what you do is you put on the powder while it's still wet. When I say wet, I don't mean like running, just damp to the touch. And you can build rust up using that. So it's to look with you've got to observe from the photos what you want to try and do, and then you work back from there to do it. And the reason that I use ink is I've weathered a few professionally painted logos, and if you make a mess of it, you can't get weathering paint off that easily. And I don't really like to keep one or two. I know professional painting and lining experts are lovers to do it, but I don't think I want to go about. So can you repaint that, please? Costs money. So I use the ink and water to get it off using some sieve and a toothbrush. In fact, if it's still wet, you can wash it off with a cloth. So it's quite handy to do, and it's a good way of learning. So you get yourself a piece of plastic card, even spray it bauxite out of a rattle can, and then play around with it. Therefore, start playing with it. Normally, I use some off-cut Ian Kirk O-gauge coach bits, which I got from Ian for a small fee a long time ago. And people have a go at that. So you can try different techniques, then move on to, you go back to look at the photos, right? I want to do one of those, it's got to look like this.
Yeah.
This is the photo, and I've got loads of them. Look, these are great books. Sorry, this is me not selling them. I have had that in the past at Warley. The guy came up trying to buy all my books off it. But you can see, you get great photos of stuff, and it means that you can actually get on and do things. A lot of my clients over the years have had generally the black white photo, which aren't exactly easy to work out what the weathering looks like. It gives you an idea, a pattern, but doesn't give you the colours. So, very handy. Thank goodness for all the books. They're brilliant. So, yeah, do all sorts. I've been weathering some trapper. I can't move my camera, and that's using paint. It's poster paint, let down the water, and just gently brush it on. But I've also been using Winsor & Newton acrylic black, and that's good for oil stains. And remember, if you've got a diesel track, it's down the middle. If you've got steam engines, it's not just down the middle, it's just on the edge of the staples, where all the grunge comes off the motion and drops onto the edge of the track. So it's observation again, back observation. Great.
Yeah. I've found these, which are really good. I don't know if you can see. These are but these are the oil paints.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that oil?
Yeah. Well, this is an acrylic. I've got some oils as well. Oh, and I've got some watercolors as well. Red one.
But I find them quite good if you mix them with a bit of like enamel thinners. You get make a really nice wash with them, and they tend to hold. They bed into colours quite well, and you can make nice oil washes out of them. And I've only got 3 colours, and I've got 2 shades of brown and a black, but you can get most sort of weathering effects from just 3 colours.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, that's the thing, and that's learning. That's experimentation and learning, and a lot of people are afraid to do that. I mean, that's 90% of the questions I get if I'm demonstrating weathering is, how do I mix that to get that? So, well, just have a go here, have a go. But what happens if I get it wrong? Well, it doesn't matter. You can start again,
Yeah.
It's not causing you great pain. You take a spray gun full of paint and start spraying your brand new logo and you make a complete banana of it, that's costing you money. So never start on something brand new. Find something cheap and work to build up your skills and also your confidence. Say it's a lot. Weathering's about confidence as well.
But one of the things I've got is I pick up. You can get things like these, like the Airfix, the old Airfix plastic kits. I think Dapper do them now, and they aren't expensive, but it's a great way to practice painting and different techniques. And you learn, you're practicing on something that costs, a tenner, 10, 11 quid, not a £200 loco.
Yeah. I mean, years ago, I was at the Guild at Telford demonstrating weathering, and a guy rolled up and plonked a logo in front of us. It still had its price tag on it. It was 850 quid. He says, "Can you weather this?" Well, yeah, I can. He said, "I'll give you a five." I said, "I don't want any money. I'm demonstrating." "I'll give you a five." "No, I don't." I said, "Have you got a photo of it?" "Hold on." So off he went. He come back and he bought a book with a photo of that logo. Can he do it like that? Luckily, there was hardly any weather on, so I did it. He was highly delighted. And so, that's fine. It's some things are very tough. I mean, there's a logo on here. Can you see the logo at the front? What colour do you think that is?
By the loco?
Yeah.
I'd have said black.
It's a blue colour.
Is
On
it?
the photo. Well, guess what colour it really is? Green. So you've got to be careful with photographs sometimes. You can tell that because the yellow stripes are sort of white. They're not yellow anymore. So it's had a bit of sun and stuff on. So, yeah. But we are very lucky now, the amount of colour photography that's around.
Yeah.
That means you can get your weathering right. And you can add little things like grease axle boxes where the grease is starting to come out. So you leave a bit shiny bit on that. And it's back to a bit of experimentation and thoughts and observations and looking at the photos. The things that are difficult, really difficult, are things like the connecting rods on logos, the valve gear, because depends on you never see them nickel silver, although a lot of people think they are. And some of them get very dark. Some of them are sort of browny, gooey, yellowy colour. And I've tried all roads up, and I'm still not 100% sure. Yeah, that I've quite the better than the were, but I'm not saying I've completely cracked that one. Let's just keep on going. I will do. I'm still working on the inside of 16 tunnels.
Okay.
If you look inside a 16 tunnel when there was coal in them, it was like a spider's web you used to get in it, which was actually coal dust held because of being wet. And I've been trying to do that because there's a guy called Station Master Mike on RM Web, who's ex-Western Region man, and he set me the challenge of that at Swindon a few years ago. I haven't quite cracked it still.
Yes, let me know when you've cracked that one, because that's that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you when I've cracked it. You'll hear the shout in Birmingham. Woohoo!
So yeah. One of the things I know you're not probably a big fan of airbrushing, but one of the things I found I tend to like to do is I tend to mix my paints in the colour cup. Yeah. And again, I think it comes from practice more than anything. Is learning what colours to mix with colours to get the right colour effect. So if I'm doing BR blue, I won't add white paint to it because white paint will make the blue look different. Whereas if you use light grey, it tends to fade the blue back rather than sort of changing the colour. Like when you're doing reds, if you want to change the colour, if you want to make red lighter, you don't use white paint because it becomes pink. So I'd use yellow or orange. For me, it's just about, like I said, grabbing that cheap plastic kit and having a go and paint it wacky colours. It's not about painting in GWR green or whatever. Sometimes it's about experimenting and playing with it and multicolour panels and if it doesn't work, you strip it off and start again.
I have got a very good airbrush. I hardly ever use it because most of the colours I need can come out of a rattle can. So it's quite easy, just spray, done. There are one or two things I do use the spray gun for, but it's very rare I have to get out. I mean, trouble is, the moment it's so cold, and I'm not allowed to spray in the railway room because it's got light blue walls to give away.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it says back to you've been trying things out, which is good. I mean, have you tried using white chalks on BR blue?
I've got a white weathering powder. I've not tried that one yet. I tend to, when I did my 08, I went round. I masked off all the yellow and black areas first and the roof. I then went round with black paint over the around all the frames and all the panel lines first. Then I used the blue paint over the top to fade to the BR blue, and then I went into the centre of the panels with the blue grey mix and used different shades of blue grey to lighten up the centre of the panels. And then I went and weathered it. So you sort of pre-weathering, painting, and then weathering afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Somebody came up was at a Warley show and said, "Have you tried using this?" He brought a BR08 out. I think it was a Hornby one in blue, and he'd faded it just like the real thing. I said, "All right, how'd you do it?" So he said he used white, or it's a creamy weathering powder. And since then, I've also heard you can use like a sandy one as well, and it just takes it down a little bit.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've tried using a bit of white ink, and that worked. But I wouldn't recommend it for anybody who hasn't tried it. It was me.
It was me. Obviously, you can see I'm on the phone, on the computer, so I tried to. I can see you live.
Is that you? Who are you? Oh no. So, yeah, but it's like it's. There's quite a. I'm not going to mention who it is, but there's quite a famous weathering person who came and stood in front of my stand at Warley one year. Never said a word to me, but he was talking loud enough for everybody to hear what he was saying to his mate about, "Oh, that's wrong. This is wrong." And in the end, this guy who was watching turned around and said, "Will you either go away and set yourself up somewhere, we'll come and do it to you, or shut up?" And everybody has different ways of doing it. There's no true way of weathering. So it's up to you as an individual to be happy with doing what you do. And I've seen some stuff I didn't like, but the guy who did it was very happy with it. Not my problem. That's how he likes it. That's the way he wants it. And that's how important it is to say. But you just got to make sure you've got a good subject to look at. I mean, what I'm not very happy with is people who sell weathered objects, both on eBay and as companies, where they've taken a spray gun and gone, and charge people a lot of money for it. And I don't agree with that.
No.
So because it's like, have you ever? How many round steam logos have you ever seen?
You don't.
It's sort of green with a brown covering. Nothing. Yeah, get odd bits. That's trap mode, generally. But yeah, so photos, good stuff. And then don't worry about it, get on with it.
It's the research for me is the key thing. It's looking at pictures and comparing to what you've seen. But it's a difficult one with weathering though, because obviously people pay a lot of money for their locos to be weathered, what they think is professionally weathered. But it is difficult because who's at fault? The person who's spending the money or the person who's doing the work? I like to blame the people who are spending the money. You know, if you're going to pay for something, you want it done properly. You don't want it done by Mickey Mouse. If you pardon the pun.
I think you're right. There are a lot of people who don't weather things. They'll buy it with a coat of brown spray on because they don't think they can do it. And my task in life is to prove to people, yes, you can.
Yeah.
You can do it. I mean, there was one guy came about 10 years ago in Warley. I showed him what I was doing. I ended up doing 20 odd wagons for him, and he was dead happy with them. Next year he turned up, he brought some stuff he'd done. It was really good. I said, don't need me to help you anymore. I said, oh, how do I do this and how do I do that? Now, luckily, he does it for himself and he enjoys doing it for himself. There are one or two people who then go away and start trying to sell it as though they're inventing something new, which is good. I mean, I pitched a lot of my ideas from the military modelers, the plastic guys. I mean, one of the things they do, so if you looked at a Challenger, because I quite like looking at tanks, I know a bit more about them than I should do, they'd spray a Challenger tank black before put green on top.
Yeah.
So they'll chip it away so you can see some of the relief coming through it. Now, I've never done that. I can't get the hang of it, so I won't even say it's brilliant, but it just looked right.
Yeah.
And the ink came from Brother. He's a raw gamer, and he has these Napoleonic figures, and I'm not kidding, they're about that big. They're tiny. He used to paint them with a paintbrush with one bristle on it. And then you look at it and you think, well, it's all right. And all of a sudden, he turned around, do something, and turn around. And all the detail was out. What's that? That's my secret. And he was using ink and water, wasn't he? Once I saw how to do that, that was it. Because the detail it brings out, just washing it over, like you said, with a wash, whether it's a paint wash or ink and water wash, detail just stands out then.
Absolutely.
Formby and Batman, green LM logos, like Scots and Jubilees. They've got so much detail. You don't notice it because the paint. You look at the paint. You look at the Army one and say, that's dull. And the Batman go, that's a bit bright. So you just give them a wash, and all of a sudden, whoa, hang on, there's rivets on there. Look, where's that come from? You can see different detail. It's brilliant. So
yeah. I've got to agree with you about the military modelers, because that's one of the things I do look at. And my pre-shading techniques and post-shading is really fun watching people weather tanks and paint tanks, because that's a classic method for painting a tank, but it works the same way on locos. There's so many skills that are transferable within the hobby, and I think it's good for the barbe hobby to look at other hobbies to see what they do.
Most definitely. I mean, the thing is, we used to go to a big show down the Rhondda Valley. It was a model show, so there was railways there. They had a Sunbelt full of boats. The military modelers were there. There's all sorts of people who used to go. It was a real good group. And I sat talking to this guy about how he was weathering things. And he was building a tank. And he said, I've just finished. Well, he probably challenged you one up. I said, well, you got the wrong number plate on that, mate. You what? It shouldn't be that number. And you got the aerials in the wrong place. He says, how do you know that? I said, I built that. Well, I didn't build it, but where I work, we built that tank, and it's only just gone out. And it should have 4 areas, not 3. It's a command tank. So you're like, well, all right. And after that, whenever I saw him, we used to have a bit of a chat and natter about odd bits. Well, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Which is good. So spread the word, spread the knowledge. Great. And that's what we're here for, isn't it? Spread the knowledge.
Absolutely.
I'm a bit worried now. He's stopping for colours. So,
Well, what about one of the club members, a guy named Tony, is asking about can anyone weather models? And he said he doesn't think that he has the ability to have a go. But for me, just have a go. Don't get your best model. Just get a piece of plastic and have it. We should, I've said I'll help him next time we're in the club room, but it is really a case of just having a go, isn't it?
yeah. It's a build of confidence. Start on something you can throw away if necessary, but you can't because you wash it and just have a go at it, and bingo. Lots of colour photos, a bit of whatever you do. Don't go and drink too much red wine. It tends to go with despair. But yeah, bit of confidence and off you go. That's it. And I keep saying, somebody said, I made a note of his demonstrator because they demonstrate using my stock down there. So when I keep saying, the guy said, "What if I make a mess? Don't worry, it's recoverable, right?" And he had a go. And he said, "Oh, this is a bit too much." So I just popped out the loo with a bit of paper towel, came back, put it on. Is that bad? Oh, that's brilliant. That's exactly what I want. So there you go. You just put a bit too much on. Well, you should have stopped and doing it. I said, "No, you've learned, haven't you?" He says, "Yeah, that's it. That's what you got to do." So yeah.
Good. So obviously the video we did with the wagon show, there's actually a video on the Warley channel. So we actually filmed you doing that. So if anyone's interested in Barry's technique, definitely go and have a look on our, in the video section. It was from, off the top of my head, I think it was 2018 show. So if you look in the playlist for 2018, it's definitely worth having a look at. So apart from being a Warley member, you also a member of Leeds Model Railway Society. So how does that compare? How does it compare to being a member of Warley?
Leeds is a much smaller club. We are fortunate, though, within the club in Leeds that we have some very, very good modelers. And in fact, some of them turn up at Warley shows as demonstrators. So Mike Edge is a professional loader builder, but he also designs edge kits. So he's helped people in the club to understand how best to get stuff out of etching. Nick Easton, he's done edge kits over the years, some of which John Redrup sells for London Road models now. We've got the two Morris brothers who have done a lot of 3D CAD print. They come to the show at Warley to show people how they do that. And as a result of that, that really speeds up the delivery of our last club double all out Chapel on the Frith, because there was a lot of stuff etched and there was a lot of stuff printed. So like bridges and what have you appear overnight virtually because of being printed. And so we're quite fortunate. We've got some really good modelers in the club, and it covers everything. You name it. Go on, Andy. Put up a subject. Let's see if we've got anybody.
Okay. Put me on the spot.
Yeah, go on.
I don't know. You go for it.
Well, 3mm modelling. Alan Smith and Ian Evans, they do a lot of it still. Alan Smith had a little called Lidney, which was in the rail model in the early 1960s, I think, and they still had it when I joined the society in '76. They still had a bit of Lidney. One of the guys has been modelling the Derwent Valley Light Railway, Ken Nelson, for a long time because of family connections. His family were involved in the railway, and he's got a layout that's in his shed, which is very, very nice. And it might do at some point with somebody inviting him to bring it to the show at Warley. So there's like a lad who's come. He's just done some 3D printed container flats in N gauge, which he's then done the rubbish. Was it bin liner things, containers go on top. He's done those 3D CAD. We didn't know he'd done that. We've got some 2mm fine scale modelers in the society. So everybody really, 009, I do a bit of 16.5. We've got a few people who've got American stuff hidden away. Anybody want to see an old printer? I've got enough stuff here. So along with there's about 30 of us, which isn't big. We don't own our own property, but and I think there's a big difference here. If you want to build a layout in the club, the only thing the club will be able to help you with is to agree to let you have the space to do it. You pay for the rest. So you're very focused on delivering and not spending lots of money on something that doesn't ever happen. So as a club, the onus is on us to make sure people enjoy doing what they're doing and giving them an opportunity to help. So at the moment in the club room, we've got obviously Chapel on the 5th, which is double O, which goes to shows. We've got a new O gauge out at Plymouth Friary Shed, which is quite large. There's a model of Durham in fine, well, it's not too real fine scale, but it's fine scale end gauge, which the guys have started, the base parts of there. There's a TT layout in there that needs finishing, and there's a 009 layout. So we've got quite a lot in there, and people do turn up. Because of lockdown, we'd only just moved into a slightly larger club room when lockdown happened. So we haven't been going down, but we have actually kept our newsletter going. Originally every week, it's now down to once a fortnight because I have got other things I like to do with my time. And we've had Zoom meetings, obviously, one of which actually attracted some members that we've got from Australia, Sydney and Adelaide. Mr. Jones, he was there, one of them. So yeah, we get quite, and everybody sort of said, "I've got one of these." Look, I've been building one of these. I've seen this here. You sort of staring at the screen.
So it's getting screen.
Yeah, we're quite active, really, with the club, which is good. And we try to do things. We've also got a lot of friends. I mean, I've probably the case of not who do you know, it's who don't you know anymore. Unfortunately, one or two have passed on, like Cookie and. But you got things like Barry Norman, my mate Baz. I first knew when we had Petherick, which I don't know, it was on before that. Something Bay. Petherick was called by all and sundry pathetic because it used to go round and round. That was it. So yeah, over the years you build up a lot of friends, and that can be handy. So like Ian Kirk, I know Ian. He don't give you a discount, but I know Ian.
Yeah.
That's not right. He does give you a discount, but yeah. But being a canny Scot, and it's good because if you get stuck with something, you've got a whole bunch of people you can talk to, albeit the won't see that by phone or by Zoom. And that makes a hell of a difference, I think, in a club where if you've got a smaller number of people, and it appears to me that Warley have got a lot more people who want to play trains, actually want to build them.
Yeah.
And whether that's the right thing, because I hardly ever get the club room. But while you've got that, the problem is you've got a small number of people who might be very good at building them, but either nobody's listening to them or they're not interested enough. Because eventually those people who build them might not be there. So what's going to happen then? So it's spreading the knowledge, spreading the growth. Part of the plan. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that one. We've got more players of trains than actual modelers, which especially the fine scale modelers. But the problem is I think we're coming off a generation now of people who just plonk. You buy a building, and you just plonk it on the layout, and you do a bit of scenic work around the outside, and you might put a bit of ballast down and a bit of grass down, or then static grass. But you're not actually handcrafting a building. You're not making something unique to your own layout. You just, it's a standard Hornby station building. It's a standard Batman water tank. It's you know what I mean. It's a peak, you know, and even the Pico Worlds kits. Not many people want to take the time to build them, you know, and then you get people, then you get comments like, "Oh, I didn't know it said painting may need painting." Well, to me, may need painting means you need to paint it. It's not, you know, but that's maybe coming from my Airfix background and building kits, whereas I've never been one to put, you know, to buy something and just plonk it on the layout.
I mean, unfortunately, we had a young lad was coming down the club, and when I say young, I think he was 8 or 9. So we had to change the rules to allow him to come down with his dad. But 2 things impressed us straight away. One is we let him have a drive for the trains on Chapel. They didn't go up Mach 5. They went a sensible state. And if it fell off, he didn't crunch the valve gear. He picked it up. He'd been watching how he did it, obviously. And he picked it up and gently put it down, which was great. And 2 years ago at the show, I said, right, time you learn how to build a wagon. And somebody donated some wagons to us. So over the course of the Saturday afternoon at the show, he built a Slater's wagon in 4 mil. And he made a really good job of it. It was square, it was true, the wheels turned it. Unfortunately, with lockdown, we've missed the link with him now. Hopefully, he'll still be doing a bit of modelling. Because his younger brother will turn up then, because he was just as mad about it. And both of them were really very, very conscientious. And the problem they had was, how do I fit a layout into this modern house? And I don't think anybody's really dreamt of that. You know, when they had the Great Railway Challenge, which I was supposed to take part in, but couldn't because of other commitments, I wrote to Pico and said at the end of it, you need to do something in Pico, not just the show you how to be able to do it, but how to build a little plank type layout for kids where you can use all the techniques. And the response was, we'll do the shows you how. But it doesn't do that. And the magazine used to do it. I mean, I remember Ian Footer's building the layout in Railway Modeler, who's the first one of his, I can build a layout with 3 points wherever you want. And that's me being cheeky. I know Ian quite well. But he built it and he showed you how he built it. And they don't do that. So how do you expect people to come into the hobby? And I think one of the things I would say is go and buy pre-cut, laser cut MDF baseboard kits is great, but they don't fit everywhere and they can cost money.
Yeah,
and if you lose interest, you do. So trying to get people more involved to do more things. And I think after the lockdowns, we're going to have to work hard as a hobby to get that through. Because a lot of people have been buying stuff. I know that. Talking to people in the trade, you know, track. I know people have stopped doing it for a while, but track is like rock nose droppings. It really, well, in fact, it still is.
It is, because I'm trying to get some bullhead track, and I can't get it for love nor money. I only want 2-3 lengths of bullhead for the for this lockdown project I'm working on. But I can't get none. I've got plenty of the concrete code 75, which I'm going to do on the one line, but I can't get bullhead. So, but talking to Steve at Pico, they're hoping to get it into manufacturing. Well, it's in manufacturing now, so they seem to think that Pico are going to have to provide track from the end of this month. So,
well, that's because I said, and train sets. A lot of people buying train sets don't know what they've done with them. They're all bought. So there's a lot of interest there. Just keep it going. So that was the thing. The Great Modern Railway Challenge, it was great, but then it just all stopped. Dead. Yeah, you took the layout to shows to see. And and that was great, but there was no follow up with it.
Yeah.
You know, there was so it didn't really do anything for it. I was a bit aggrieved by that, but not a lot you can do.
What do you think about Hornby and their family fun project? So the idea of having a box with everything you need to start a layout in a box, and
Yeah,
it's around the £200 mark. So it's, it's compared to like a PS5. It's good value for money, isn't it?
it is. I mean, having said that, they used to do that, you know, and Graham Forrest did it. Hornby used to give you a track mat and all the track and the buildings at one point in a big box again, and then they stopped doing it. So obviously, Simon Kohler's realised they made a right foobar of that one as well, and they've stayed on because that's what you need. And then I know their sales have gone up quite a lot, which is good because they needed it. We'll wait and see. I mean, strange enough, in America, they used to go there with work. And I went to the Toys R Us one day, just before Christmas in Florida, and they had a Toy Story train layout. And basically, it was a track mat, the track, a battery controller, and all the stuff on the track, and some funny cardboard building things. And I wish I'd bought one because at the time you couldn't get anything like that here. I particularly like the fact that the caboose, when I went past, went woo, because like the three men, lots of eyes on. But we seem to turn away from. I think hopefully they've realised you've got to get the next generation involved, sharpish, because they're
Absolutely.
not getting younger, as they say.
I think things like, I know the Harry Potter range has been very popular, but again, they probably need something. They probably need the next craze coming in, because Harry Potter now is a few years old, isn't it? Really, so it's not. If they brought it out 5-6 years ago when the films were in the cinema, it would have probably been a bit more of the moment. But what's going to be the next craze for youngsters, and the next big TV or film? Because I can remember being 5 or 6. I had Thomas the Tank Engine, and Hornby bought the range out at the right time when it was current in the TV. So it's trying to work out where Hornby go next, and the next avenue to bring youngsters in.
Well, I mean, Thomas the Tank, the latest versions are CGI. They're not using real things anymore, which is a real shame.
They've lost the personality, haven't they?
Yeah. They had Underground Ernie did Batman. That seems to die a death, which was unfortunate, because the old 16.5 models among us thought the chassis on that was brilliant. You can fit all sorts on top of that. But you're right, there's very few things coming through. And you don't see, you wonder a bit about it, particularly when the detail people demand now, it's very high, and the prices are going up quite quickly.
Yeah.
And they will continue to do so. So I can't see people doing a reset on saying, I'll have it. If it's cheaper, I don't mind it being cheaper, as long, with less detail. Because when I first started, you could buy white metal kits or plastic kits, and then you get a triangle chassis and cut and bodge that to fit. Because my first kit was a Wills flat iron with a Genty chassis, and I was quite proud to build this. So the next one I built was a Newcast Q6, which is an 080. It has K's wheels, an MW005 motor. It's white metal, and I built that as well, and I've still got it. How it works, I don't know, but it still does. But they were an achievement. Nowadays, if it's not shake the box and it all comes together, people don't seem to have the patience, which that's hard to get round. It's I don't know what you do to do with that. I mean, I buy stuff as well, but I do build a lot of my own stuff wherever I can.
Yeah. I think Hornby have got the railroad range correct though. I think they've done a good job with bringing a good range uh, of cheaper models out. So I think I'm due to same tooling there on the old Lima Mark ones because they're very very similar, and also the locos. I'm sure it's the old Lima tooling. And again, when as a kid, I'd go to Beatties in Birmingham with my pocket money. I could just about afford a wagon. My pocket money and if I used my paper round money, if I did a double round, I could have just about afford to buy a Mark One. But it was there's a real treat when I was I suppose 8 or 9 going into Birmingham and the last shop we'd go to would be Beatties. And have you come out down the ramp and have a hamburger on the way out. But it really was a highlight, and I don't think them shops are there now for kids.
But not
like we used to have when I was a kid.
Well, I mean, the stuff you could buy, you buy all sorts of detail and bits, but the thing is, they weren't that good, if you know what I mean. But all that's gone away. Like Craftsman did detail for Lima diesels. They had all these detailing kits, which were brilliant. They've all disappeared.
Yeah.
So it's a dying trade, unfortunately, but things move on. I mean, I still build kits because I must be completely mad, but I do. And I bodge coaches together out of etched brass sides, and because I remember the first etched coach sides I ever saw. Guess where it was?
Warley.
Harry Mitchell.
Harry Mitchell. Okay.
Yeah, it was I don't know whether it were members of the club. All Jones probably remembers, but they did these coach sides, Mark One coach sides, for this layout they were going to build. Now I believe eventually they turned into Comet. Those guys, yeah.
Didn't Pete?
It's about 247.
Didn't Peter Waterman did a range of kits? Didn't need to upgrade Limas and stuff.
M&L kits. He was. And if have you heard of a guy called Roy Jackson, who was building a large model Redford, he was part of 3H, who did these plastic kits. And if you see anybody got any 3H court wagons, buy them and send them to me, will you? I just need some more.
Paul's made a comment. He's put the reserve railways are very important to youngsters becoming enthusiasts about railways in general and modern railways in particular. So it is getting, I think for me the only benefit of Beeching was giving us all these preserved lines, which we probably wouldn't have had without Beeching. So in a way, he did us a favour.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Queen visited my home village. Well, actually went to Peterlee. So they painted the station, and 4 weeks later he'd shut it. And last year I got a chance in between lockdowns to go up to Orden. It's the newest station on the national network. It isn't in the same place, but it's a railway station, and people are using it. Now, when I was a kid, I'd be down watching the trains in the summer holidays. Every day I'd be there because there was coal trains, passenger trains. There were still steam engines as well, not preserved ones, real working ones. I think that did keep me interested in railways for a long time. And then it did help having a father who liked making things. So he started to bodge things out of plastic yard or kits. Start off with kits. They went to plastic card on brass chassis he made. Then he went on to brass bodies on brass chassis. And then he went O gauge. Then he went to narrow gauge, and he built a layout, which I still have. So having somebody in the family who's interested helped a lot. It really did. It also helped. My missus used to enjoy coming to shows to help. So yeah, there's a picture appeared on recently about a show in Leeds in 1970. Well, it's either 79 or 80. And my missus attacking me with a set of knitting needles. She was pretty vocal even then. Luckily, she's not listening. She says,
You're not being had a whack around the back of the head yet, so you must be safe.
"No, I'll hear her coming. I'll be all right. I'll hear her coming."
I'm not talking about you.
Yeah, honestly. You don't have to be talking about it, she just thinks it. So what I'm doing now is the lockdown came at the wrong time. I've got a good friend called Graham Nicholas who owns Shap and also Grantham, the streamliner years. And Graham loves designing and building layouts. So I got him to design his layout. I've got this. Can I share a screen with you, Paul?
I think. Yeah, I think you can. I think. I don't know how you do it as you. You might have to send it me as a picture. Send me a picture on Facebook and I'll share it.
Screen.
Unless you
Ah,
can you do it? So I think I can allow you to do it if you can do it.
yeah. That's the design for the layout.
There you go.
Can you see it?
I can see it. Yeah.
So I laid down some requirements. I wanted something that had a station, which it has. It's up here. Station. An engine shed. Got a lot of engines. A goods yard, which is down the bottom here. There's a colliery up here. And then underneath the goods yard, there's a 9 road fiddle yard. And there's a big gradient to come up. It comes up that hill there onto the main lines. And the problem is, I won't share it now. All right. The problem is we've got so far, as you can see behind us, bits of layout and everything. It goes round once. The fiddle yard's done, storage yard's done. So I've just been spending a lot of time testing stock round and round and round and round and round, because when you've got as many things as I have, which is a lot, and you've not used it really, you start finding out the bits you've got to fix. So I want to try and get all that done, and they're part of the round to it, pal. And it's quite fascinating because I've started to work out how will I run this? What buildings do I need? Where will they go? I've got to signal it. I quite like signaling. So it's given us something extra to do over and beyond sitting there just building yet more wagons, because I'm quite good at building lots and lots of wagons. Why? I don't know. I just like wagons. So, I've got some weathering to do, though, because I built all these wagons. There's 14 vans to do. I've got those down to do probably next week now. I've got some things to do tomorrow. But yeah, but trying to do that, you've got a great layout. Thank you, Graham, because he's been helping build it. But we can't see each other because he doesn't live next door and he's not on the bubble. So he'll have to wait. I've got all the track. I bought that. Just needed doing. So I've even balanced some of it, which is real desperation, isn't it? So yeah, just keep thinking.
Paul said he's building the Parkside wagon as we speak, so he's got us in the background talking away. And so if you're watching, Paul, if you want to send me a picture, we can show Baz what you've been up to.
Yeah. Yeah, and be able to see the blood when he sticks himself with a scalpel blade, because you just think, oh, yeah.
At least he's not soldering today.
No, that's dangerous, is that?
Yeah, Paul's dangerous at soldering.
Yeah, I've got the marks to prove it as well. Yeah. Don't ever catch it. If you knock a soldering iron off a stand, never try and catch it.
Never try and catch it.
Hot end, you can.
I've got a few burns on my fingers, but I tend to miss what I'm soldering and hit my finger instead.
You need to take a little less wine with it, I think.
I hate soldering. I hate electrics and I hate soldering.
Love it. Yeah. I mean, I'm just used to it. I used to, well, because I've done that sort of thing as a living in the past. So, you had to do it right because safety critical things and obviously you just got used to doing it.
Yeah.
I still refer myself as a bodger rather than as a builder because I get so far and go, taking too long, this, done. So, yeah. Oh, it's just nice. I mean, it's thing is when you start to build a layout though, it's to do with inspiration. And I've been lucky, apart from the fact that Graham took away what I want. I said roughly is the what I want. He measured it and said, "Oh, I can do something," and did has come up with something. But it's also banging ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
We've done that on numerous other bits together, which is good. And it's just really nice to have people like that. I mean, back to people in the club, we've got people in the club I can do that with. RM Web, there's people on there you can do it with as well. So it's good. There's a lot of people out in the wild world who try really hard to be nice.
Yeah.
There's one or two try to be a complete pain in the neck, but you can recognise them, so you don't worry about it. So what are you building at the moment? Did you say you're building a lockdown? You're doing the lockdown locked in layout, are you?
No, I'm building a layout in here. I'm building a lockdown layout. If I can get you onto the other camera, I'll show you what I'm doing.
You got somebody in with
So there's your wagon again. But if I come out, so the idea is we're doing a.
Right.
There you go. So it's just going to be a double O layout. I've got scale model scenery, warehouse building. So just MDF.
Yeah.
MDF sheets. So the idea is I use plastic hard. So it makes scratch building easy because you've got the basic shape there, and you just clad in plastic hard. And again, you can use all the different techniques. So I used pre-shading, post-shading. So the problem is if you're not careful, if you paint something one block color, it looks wrong. Whereas if you can use different colors and fills, it gives it a nicer effect.
Well, I think you're right. Because when you look at the photo, I mean, there's a bunch of jokes being written about railways around Bradford. And some of the photos, I mean, you can see that's a Delta coming out of Bradford Station. Look at the colour on there. It's not all one colour. It's so different. It's not different. Things like that. I mean, for years, all you used to see in railway model was black and white photos. Well, any magazine, black and white photos. You had to imagine what it was really like. Now, I think the best example of that is I asked Bob Esri once, who's a nice guy, how did you and David Jenkinson ever decide what was painted Crimson Lake and what was painted black when it came to coaches? And he said, we studied them for ages and ages and ages, and then start realising there was a way of detecting the slightly darker colour, that was black rather than the dark lake colour. That takes a lot of doing that. I tend to prefer to have a colour photo. Yeah. I think, yeah.
But a lot of the buildings I've done on there is I've just looked at any building. I've looked at any, because even if not the right colour, as long as it's the right type of building, it gives you an idea. So you haven't got to necessarily use railway buildings to get inspiration. It's just looking how how grime runs down the walls, how water runs down the walls, and then trying to replicate that in what you're building.
Oh yeah. It's back to this thing about looking at what you see and doing something like it.
Absolutely.
You don't have to copy it exactly, but it gives you a really good idea of what should be dirty, what should be clean, and where it is. I mean, the fascinating one is bits of green moss running down the side of water pipes. You know, guttering were mossy. How often do you see that? You know, it's there. I've seen some very. Gordon Gravitt's done on his layouts because Gordon is an expert at it. For a lot of layouts, when you look at them, they don't go that far. They go quite a long way, but not just that last little bit. But no.
But it's the little detail that makes a big difference. You've only got to put, you've only got to put slight changes in and modifications, and all of a sudden it becomes your own. But it makes a big difference. It does make a huge difference. And one of the things we're playing with is this. I don't know if you can see. We got this this Magnum system here.
Yeah.
So the idea is we're going to have moving cars running up the length of the layout, and little vans, which again it just adds that extra dimension. It's a bit different. Paul sent me an image, so I don't know if he can show you.
Go on, show you.
I don't know if I got to try and do it now.
It's easy, isn't it? Not. You think that'll be easy?
There you go. Can you see that?
No, I've lost you now.
Have you lost me?
Yeah, I can see it.
So he's building a Ox fan. So hopefully we'll get Paul on in a few weeks' time. Of when he's a bit warmer, he can show us what he's up to. So,
and ask him why he didn't turn up to buy me a drink in Shimla.
I think he's still in the chat. So, Paul, if you can explain yourself.
Well, I know why. Because I was there at the same time.
That's two people owe you a pint then.
Oh yeah,
Paul and Pete. So we'll try and get Pete on here at some point, and you can ask him in the chat. Where's my pint?
I'll buy you one next time I see you. Yeah, right. We've been there. So no, I mean, it's doing testing though. You've got to do lots of testing, and sometimes it's hard work building up the idea of I've got to do this today, and particularly at the moment in lockdown where you go, well, I don't want to do that, and I've got that many different things I want to do. So I want to be very strict with myself to say I'm going to do this. Yeah. But if I get like with weathering, if you get to the point where you're going, I don't want to do this anymore, just leave it and walk away.
Yeah, walk away.
Generally, that's while I'm putting shackles on con flats. I've done 2 of those, and the second one really did me head in. I should have left it alone. Just when you put it all together, it goes ping. There it was. The carpet monsters bit again.
I was building a little micro layout in the first lockdown, and I built it and did all the wiring, electrics, and I got a short. And for the life of me, I could not find this short, and I spent hours, days after days after days, chasing a small layout which was that big. Yeah. It's on the shelf behind me, and I was pulling my hair out. And in the end, I chucked it across the living room and thought I'll come back to it, and it stayed there for 12 months. The start of this lockdown, I just thought, right, I'm going to rip the point motors out because it's only the little seat point motors, and all of a sudden the shorts come. So it's me wiring a seat point motor wrong somehow, but you spend hours, and sometimes by just putting something away for a week or a month or whatever, you come back to it and all of a sudden something clicks and you go, oh yeah, that's what I've done wrong. And it is good to be able to do that, and that's why I like to have sort of 3 or 4 projects on the go at the same time, so you can flick between different projects. And sometimes by doing that, it keeps things fresh then, and you don't get bored.
You're right. I mean, some of the things I'm getting around to have been half finished for about 10 years. I've got a couple of Judith Edge kits I've got to finish. One of which was I think it was production H2 for the Hunslet 67 tonner, which I had actually almost finished at one point and then took it apart. And I don't know why, because I can't see why I did it, but so it will go back together. And I've built a few chassis as well. So yeah, getting around to it. Leave it for a while, get around to it. I think I've got 3 more coaches to build, and that's it. So dead chuffed.
Well, I've got the 47 and a 37 on the shelf. I've started, but again, it's one of those things you do so much, and you think, I'll come back and do it in a bit, or the 37 is the door handles on the 37, and I can't bring myself to fitting them. I hate fitting door handles, grab handles.
They're the recessed ones as well, aren't they?
Yeah, so it's just once you get them done, I think the model will fly along. But it's just getting it's just the build up to, I need to do it. Well, I've even got I think I've bended the brass for the first one, and I just keep looking. Every time I open the drawer, you look at it, think, I need to fit them handles.
Bite the bullet and do it.
Absolutely, because I can get onto the bit I like doing then, which is the actual painting.
I mean, I've built an awful lot of stuff through the lockdowns. Coaches, wagons, got lotos. I had a lot of lotos needed new engine, motors and gearboxes in. Fitted them. I would be doing some more of those, but I've got the wrong gearbox. I've ordered some more. And as I say, I've got about 3 or 4 coaches I want to build, and they'll get done now. I've got the chassis for those. It's just a case of making sure you actually focus on doing it.
Yeah.
And try and not make an excuse like I get, which is, I've got some paperwork to do.
I was hoping to get my baseboards built for today, but between Paul Jones and Dave Crawford and I just need this paperwork doing today. I need these minutes done today.
Yeah.
So I'm going to blame them for not getting the baseboards done, but I will get the baseboards built for next week.
Well, you just remind us, because I'm secretary of the Leeds club, and I've got to do the committee meeting minutes to go out. I think I've done them. I just have to send them out to remind myself and set up a Zoom meeting. I mean, they're quite interesting. Setting up Zoom meetings. I managed to break Zoom. I had a lady from America asking us what I'd done. I set a date, I pressed another button, and it reset all the dates and sent the invite out like that. And they couldn't stop it from doing it. They did eventually. That was quite exciting.
I just copy the code down and send it out on an email.
Yeah,
I just keep it simple.
Well, that's what I've done, but they've given us the wrong code. They changed the date. I don't know why we've done that. So it was a nice lady from San Jose.
Okay.
So I have been there. World Cup 2004, was it, with America? They were playing in San Jose, and I was there doing some business, and we went to San Jose, and it was full of Irishmen, I think I remember, playing football.
Was it 94, America?
Oh, yeah, 94, that's it. Yeah.
Because it's 4 years after we lost to Italy, to Germany in the semi-final.
I mean, my plan was I was going to the model shop, but I never did get there. We used to go to the one in Orlando, though. It was a really good one there, run by an English guy. So,
okay. Mr. Jones has commented. He says you left before I got the chance, and you didn't want to buy a second round. So he's blaming you.
All right. Yeah. It was to do with snow and his train. We were there and he wasn't. And then we had to go.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, it's another way of keeping your interest up. Just look at the photos of the places you have been. Darjeeling, that's an interesting train set. You know, up at Shimla, very interesting train set. All the way around India. If you want to find some really strange railways, just go to India. You know, Australia, just watch out for the spiders. New Zealand, great place to go on the trains. There's not many of them, but they're very good. So yeah, it gives you inspiration.
I don't
You know,
think the Warley coffers would go to me visiting India and Australia as part of Warley visits.
no, Leeds Motorway Society definitely wouldn't get that far. I think because we want to go there, get on with it.
Yeah, but Paul went to India a few years ago, and we were lucky that Paul actually did some filming for us, and we put it in one of the videos on the channel. So that was really good. To be fair, it is good. It is good to get about and see what other countries have got and what they do. Yeah,
it's great. And you see a lot of ex-British design stuff. I mean, New Zealand has an awful lot of Mark II coaches. In fact, if you want to see a Gatwick Express train, there's one just outside Wellington, which has been converted because the 3-foot-6 gauge. They dropped the boat, changed the bogies.
Yeah.
But because it had all the right fittings for them, well, it's just outside. It's gone green.
Yeah. But they've got HSTs, which are very similar to ours, haven't they? Haven't they?
That's XPTs in Australia.
Is that Australia?
I think they've just about gone because they've got Tilton trains now. But the XPT still kept the Lentas. Didn't get any of that MTU rubbish fitted. The proper streaming Valenta. You go to Melbourne, Flinders Street, you'd hear this thing winding up to set off. Oh, it's an HST.
Yes. I miss those days.
Oh yeah, sure. Yes, those were the days.
So one of the projects I spoke to another member about is a couple of members about is looking at some like places like Rickerton Junction, and we may be going for a walk up there and a visit. Well, when COVID allows, but I think that would make quite a nice layout location.
Talk to Ian Fooders. He built a model of it years ago. He's really into the Border Counties area, is Ian? And he's alive and kicking. I talked to him the other week. So, but yeah, there's a book. Has he got the book? I think there's a book about the Border Counties up there.
I'm not sure. I've only been on YouTube and looking at some of the video up there and what it's there now and what's gone. But I think it'd be quite nice to build a layout based on the track plan, but with modern stuff, infrastructure.
You mean like
model stock?
The Reborn Waverley route, but through Rickerton.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. But you could backdate it to the 80s and 90s as if the layout hadn't or the railway hadn't closed.
Yeah.
So there's so many things you can do. Paul wrote and said E&F wrote the book.
Yeah, I thought he might have done. Yeah, he's good lad, is Ian. So
Paul's also said thank you for chatting on the video this afternoon. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, well, very kind of him.
That's another point to use, yeah.
Yeah.
So does anyone any questions in the chat for us while we're here? Because if you've got questions, throw them at us. Because we won't do much. We've done an hour and 20 minutes now. So if anyone's got any questions you'd like to ask, please ask away. So what's the project now for the rest of the year? So
get the layout done, finish my wagons. I've got to get the signals fixed for Chapel so they'll work. I've actually done some of them. And I've got to build a signal for Plymouth Friary. There's a whack and great big old gauge signal. Grunt. I've got one. Unfortunately, it's the wrong way around the dolls.
Yeah,
need to be changed. So I've got to build a new one. Where else? Well, just finish the train set. You know, there's a lot of wiring. Once got all the track done, there's a lot of wiring to do. And I mean a lot of wiring. I've drawn up ready to go. I've got droppers in everywhere. There's bits of wires and plugs, bit of wire, croc clips, temporary testing wiring. And I've got quite a lot of weathering to do as well. So you know, it just keeps you busy.
Absolutely.
And in between all that, I'll also be going back to do my summertime hobby, which is umpiring and scoring cricket. So it's Thursday, because I was doing school. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, taking out the week in one go. If it's not raining.
So where do you go for that? Where's what clubs is it? County level or?
No, look, I've umpired county ladies games, but generally clubs and county juniors. But I'm also a staff member at the local fee-paying grammar school, the grammar school at Leeds. It's where we have our show, and hopefully, is where we'll be having it next October. And they go all over the place: Newcastle, Manchester, or Cheadle. You name it, we go there. So that's quite good. It's nice to see the kids or the lads and the girls now starting. You know, you see them when they're 11 and they grow. And, you know, you watch the improvement. Some don't improve, other than the fact they get more lippy or slightly more doolally. But it's sort of mirror of my youngest lad, because he did that and played. He still does play. I won't umpire him because he swears at me a lot. So I give him out. But yeah, it's like almost a full-time occupation in summer. We used to do a thing at Ampleforth, like a festival for a fortnight, and that was full on. We had Saturdays and Sundays off because Saturdays you went home and did club and league games on a Saturday, and on Sunday you do the ladies' games, and then Monday morning you're back doing junior games again for a week. After 2 weeks of that, it's a bit tiring, is all I would say. You get to be very fit.
Yeah.
And you need to have the odd pint to recuperate. But yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's nice.
Again, it's keeping you active, isn't it? And keeping your mind active and keeping you a bit of exercise and fresh air.
Yes, well, I mean, the wife, she's a scorer as well. We're both scorer tutors, so we can teach people how to score. And that can take up time in the winter, but this year, no, it hasn't, which is a shame. But, yeah, and she goes everywhere. We do the over 60s, Yorkshire Ridings over 60s. So we play Lancashire, and boy, oh boy, is that a grudge match. It's terrible. Umpiring, that's like a war.
It's the same as when Man United play Leeds, though, isn't it? It's the same atmosphere almost.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a Leeds supporter, so.
I know. Okay. There's no love lost.
And you know, we've got a place like Durham. I know lads who play for the Durham team, and there's a place we go. We always play Durham at home at a place called Masham or Masham, which is where two breweries are, Black Sheep and the other Theaksons. So imagine that's quite a nice place to go, and you have a game of cricket. Generally, it's warm, a nice tea, couple of pints. Wife drives you home, brilliant. Love it. So,
you've got a well trained.
Yeah. No, she's got me well trained. Don't worry about it. I just refer you to the picture in RM Web I've put up about one of our club layouts called Leeds Victoria. And there's a picture, and there's me being attacked by my wife with her flipping knitting needles, which were her usual weapons of war. She helped me run the layout, and you didn't do what she told you to, you get a jab in the ribs with them. I've still got the marks. There you go. Well, yeah. So has anybody got any questions? Did you say or not?
Nothing's come in so far. You've got away lightly, to be fair.
Yeah, good. Fair enough.
But no, it's been great having you on today. We've done an hour and a half, so it's been good fun. Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
Hopefully, when lockdown allows, Paul and myself will probably. I've just did Paul for another trip out, but we'll come up and visit you at Leeds and have a look around the club room, hopefully, and showcase some of your layouts and have a chat with you members, the other members if they want to. So that'd be good if you can do that.
The door bite.
But that's been brilliant. Thanks for the time today. Thanks for joining us today with the viewers, and we'll see you next week. Next week we've got Justin from Scale Model Scenery. So Justin's going to hopefully show us some new kits, some new buildings he's working on. So that'll be another interesting video. And again, you'll give you a chance to ask questions if you want to see new things to the range. It's your chance to talk to him and throw some ideas at him. So thanks for now, Barry, and we'll see you all next week at 2:00.
Yeah, thank you for asking us.
No pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, guys, gals.